Hey everyone, thanks so much for being here. This is episode 20 of Authentic Conversations with Entrepreneurs. I'm Katherine Morales. I'm an authentic brand strategist and founder of Inflection Point Communications. I am so excited to share one of my favorite people here. Today is Danielle Ramos. She's a visual brand strategist and founder of Dani Lou Illustrates. So, hi Danielle.
Hi everybody. Thank you for having me.
Of course. I've known Danielle for a number of years, and I just can't wait to share everything about you with everyone. But before we jump into today's topic, the top of every show, I always explain what the heck is an authentic conversation. So I define authenticity as honoring the good and growing within all of us. So in each episode, what we do is we explore an entrepreneur journey growing to the good. Let me get in the right order. So we all kind of hit these bumps in the road. Maybe it just feels like it's broken down by the side of the road, but this is a show for entrepreneurs like Danielle to share that vulnerability of the true entrepreneurial experience and journey, because we all have lessons to learn from one another. So I want to thank you in advance, Danielle, for being here and being open to sharing your experience and your story. So without further ado, today's topic is love your inner unicorn. I just love this topic in general.
Hey.
Oh my gosh, my daughter has one of those too. Full compliment.
You're great.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, it's not a filter. It's real. It's a real one.
Right? We have to, it's authentic and real. Not
my authentic one.
Yeah. No, literally my mom wore one of those, like when she flew from Florida, she was wearing it in the airport when we picked her up.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. We have
so
a couple of those in the house. What a great way to start. But so beyond the costume, this phrase, like love your inner unicorn, what does it mean to you? Where did it come from?
So why do I consider myself a little bit of a unicorn? I think really different. And, we all think different, and it makes us who we are. It makes us unique humans. But I really feel like that I see things from a different point of view than a lot of other people. And what I mean by that, an example is, like when you're a kid and you're laying on the grass and you're looking into the sky and you see a cloud that looks like a horse or, a monkey or whatever, and you kind of make these clouds into things. I do that with everything all the time, and I always have. So I go to somebody's house and we're having a drink, and I look at their rug and I see all these different things that I want to draw in the rug, just sitting there. It's just shapes or colors or whatever, abstract things. But I see all these things that inspire me that I want to draw. In my shower, I have like wood paneling. And so there's like an old man with a beard and an elephant and a dancing giraffe. And like every time I go in, I see something new. It's just kind of how I'm wired, right? So I think that part of my horn is being able to see things from a different point of view. And it's been mostly good. Sometimes not as easy, but mostly good.
Well, I love that. And really, I love just directly the visual point of view. And it's interesting because I'll tell you, just fun side note, that when I was younger, I saw the clouds as people. Like I thought people would die and become a cloud. Wow. And so I saw faces in the clouds. So.
Oh, I love that. That is really cool. That is super imaginative.
Yeah, that's how I was connected to my grandmother and all that. Which, so yes, I see that as well. But so let's talk about, because this is about growing, and I think obviously if you're sitting, let's go to the scenario with your friend, or you're sitting, having a drink and you look at their rug. Now, I don't know if you're always saying, hey, I see this in your rug. But is there a moment like that? I mean, obviously your friends love you and they love your horn and all of that. So let's go to like the entrepreneurial journey.
Sure.
Was there a moment where that sort of scenario of I see this, or here's my awesome, unique way of seeing things, that it wasn't celebrated or honored?
Oh, sure. I've had plenty of
I
those.
like the pause. They're like, yeah, let's go there.
Yeah. I mean, it's not always easy having a horn. Um, Sometimes people think it's strange. Um, yeah, I mean, when I was younger and I was in elementary school, I would, when it comes to like teachers and stuff, I would do math just really backwards and in ways that my math teachers just didn't know. Like I got the right answer, but they didn't know how. My brain just worked differently, and I couldn't always do it like everybody else. And sometimes that can feel like a really lonely feeling to not be able to think the way that everybody else thinks, and you feel like maybe you're wrong, maybe the differences is wrong. I used to wear crazy outfits in elementary school. I would wear my mom's big sweatshirts with a belt and go into school thinking, with these boots and thinking I look so cool. And, a kid would say, "Oh my God, you're just so weird." Parents would say, "She really marches to the beat of her own drummer," which I've never been able to really figure out if that's a compliment or a backhanded compliment. I don't know. So yeah, I mean, I definitely felt quirky. I loved anything creative. I was an only child, so I had a lot of playtime by myself.
Yeah.
And where I would really start exploring, all different kinds of creative things. One girl shows for my mom, or, I'd make little action figures out of clay. I'd actually make my own toys and stuffed animals.
Love it.
Because I really enjoyed the creative part of actually building something and putting a lot of heart into it. But I know that the clothing and the being different was not always fun. I definitely had a lot of people making fun of me for my differences or the way I dressed or the way I acted because my horn was showing.
Yeah. I want to I love this, and I want to dive in though. You said I love building something, like creating something.
Yeah.
So literally by nature, entrepreneurship is that. So how, from clay molds or outfits, like what was like, how did you make the decision, or how did you know, like, oh, I'm going to take this entrepreneurial journey and do my own thing? And how different was that to build a business versus, what you know how to do, right? Like business, like we learn as we go, right? Like,
Absolutely.
So how different was that, and how did the horn play into that experience?
So I would say I have been an entrepreneur about as long as I can remember. I have always not loved.
Was it like a certain moment of starting the business? Like,
well, so when I was little, when I was in like 4th grade, a friend and I started a comic book for girls, my friend Erica. And
Cool.
she was super creative too. So we started doing that. My friend Marty was also creative. And so we started making jewelry and selling it at school. I made coloring books that I'd sell to other kids. So the drive to create things for people, to put a smile on their face, or, just something that hadn't been created before, was really fun to me and exciting. I made this, like, I guess kids don't ever write notes in class anymore like they used to. I mean, it was my favorite thing to do. And
the dying art.
Yeah, it was a really big deal, right? So every day I would write a few friends on special paper, right? Like I had special note writing paper with special markers, and
oh my gosh,
draw little things. And that at the time the teachers didn't like you to send notes to people, so we'd have to be really careful. And a lot of times, if they saw the notes, they would either just throw them away or they'd read them in front of the entire class, which was the most embarrassing thing that could happen in 5th grade,
Yeah.
So I made this little, I got a Crayola marker. I took out the marker part, the filter, and then that way you could roll a note and put it into the marker container, and then you could just hand your friend the marker. And so I started selling those, and my friends never got in trouble for notes again because the teachers never knew.
Oh my God. I love it. So I mean, how long have you had your business, and like how have these amazing creative skills like come into how you offer what you do?
So I've had Dani Lou Illustrates for 9 years now. It was
Congrats.
a scary jump, but a needed jump. I don't love being told what to do all the time by a boss or a teacher. And a lot of people, some people really like that. Some people are like, oh, I know what I'm supposed to do, when I'm supposed to do it. And I don't like a whole lot of downtime. And I found that sometimes in school, there was a good bit of downtime. Sometimes in work, there was a good bit of downtime. I like to stay busy,
Yeah.
and I'm pretty good at keeping my own schedule.
Yeah.
And staying busy like that. So I really work best alone. Even though I like to work with other creatives and stuff, like I work best when I can be at home and create and think and feel and, be inspired by, a nature
Shower
walk
tile. Yeah.
or a rug or wallpaper,
Yeah.
whatever.
Right.
I really work best like that. So it was really in me for a long time that I knew that I wanted to take this step, but I wanted to get some experience in the industry before I did that. And once I felt like I had kind of done my due diligence and worked at several different places, I thought, now or never, I'm going to try it. And it was slow at first. I had to figure out what made me special and stand out to the people that I wanted to stand out to. The clients that would appreciate my horn and what I can offer. It really started in art school. I went to college and undergrad, and I studied medical illustration, which is super specified.
Like literally until I had never heard of that. So I'm sure
that's what most people say. It's such a small market, but it's needed. You have to draw very realistically. A lot of times you work with lawyers or CDC, stuff like that. It's a creative job, but for creative jobs, it's less creative because you have to draw like a photograph, right?
Yeah.
And when I was an undergrad, I did this drawing of Mona Lisa. It was supposed to go on the cover of a magazine. She had allergies, so she was holding a Kleenex box, and her face was all puffy, and her eyes were red, and she'd been tearing up. And it was way more creative and out there than most of the medical illustration stuff that my classmates were doing. And so, my new unicorn horn was definitely there, but my teacher kind of pulled me aside and said, look, I think maybe you need a path that's a little bit more creative and has a little bit more creative leeway where you can use bold and bright colors and kind of interesting, humorous things. So I went back to school for design, and I picked an art school.
Okay.
And so design and illustration, it's a misconception that they're the same thing, or that people that design can illustrate, or vice versa. Usually they do very different things and very different types of creatives. Design's a lot problem solving. It's a lot strategic, and illustration can certainly be those things, but it's a lot more just whatever comes to your mind. How do you communicate a message, but through visuals? So it's two different things. And I decided I know enough about illustration already. I don't need that. And I was wrong. And so I got into design and got to art school, and everybody was a unicorn. Everybody was talented. Everybody was great at what they did. They already knew all of these things. It came easy to them. And I felt my horn getting smaller and smaller and smaller because I didn't really feel like I had found my place. I felt like there was a little bit of a mismatch, not the school, but maybe what I was focusing on. And I remember.
So interesting. Oh, sorry. I was just going to say, like, I love the visual of that. Like, and I just think, when you go into business, like you're guaranteed a moment, even if you're unique, unicorn, like, what your special sauce is, like, inevitably there will be a moment where you find yourself in a room or in an experience where you were like, oh my God, everyone's a unicorn?
Yeah.
So I just, yeah, like I love how you describe it and how you bring it to life, but that moment happens for everyone. So, okay, sorry to pull you out of the moment, but so what happened? You had this.
Well, so it was the moment that I thought, yeah, I think different and I've done that all my life and it's just kind of been me, but here everybody thinks different. Everybody thinks out of the box. They're coming up with these amazing ideas that are so creative. And how do I do that? How do I keep up?
Yeah.
So I worked really, really hard. My third quarter in school, it was a 2-year school, and went in. We had critiques. That was kind of like our finals. Was a half an hour critique where we had to present all of our work and explain it. And I was getting kind of blank stares. I was so proud of my work going in, right? Like I was like, I killed it. This is great. I'm gonna across
all the confidence in the world.
Yeah. And so I go in and they're like, well, this doesn't really make sense, and you didn't really connect this, and I don't love this design, and this illustration's not quite right. And it was very much not how I thought it was gonna go. I had one critique that I cried when I went out of the door, which is not uncommon. I mean, it happens. And as creatives are so protective of their work, and their ego gets involved, and it's this big thing, right? So I calmed down. I had to tell myself that I needed to hear what they were saying to me instead of just thinking I knew better. These were people that were out in the world doing what I wanted to do. So I needed to hear and take in what they were saying and refocus, right? I needed to find my horn again because I feel like I kind of lost it. Yeah. And so I thought back to really what made me stand out, what made me special, even in art school with all these other great people, talented people that were way better than I was. And what I found was it was really the combination of design and illustration together that made me unique and stand out. Most creatives can't do both. And so I went to the president of the school and I said, look, I think I want to double major in design and illustration. That wasn't a thing at all. And he tried to talk me out of it. And I said, no, it's just something's not aligning. Something doesn't feel right deep inside. I need to do this. I need to at least try it and see. So he agreed and he was on board. And then a few friends of mine who were also interested in both decided they wanted to double major.
Look at you, trendsetter.
Yeah. We called it designistration.
I love that.
Yeah. So designistration became a little bit of a thing. I found my horn again. I got some confidence back. It really was what I needed to do for me to get to where I am now, to get to, clients that want something different, that want something out of the ordinary and to really stand out. That's what allowed me to get to that place. Yeah. So thank you, that guy who made me cry. Thank you for making me change my whole career path and refocus. I mean, I really sincerely do appreciate that. So I'm glad he made me cry.
Yeah. I mean, it's some of those moments that you don't think, like, they don't look pretty, but they are designed to turn inward and, say, oh, what is my unique light or horn, as you would say. So yeah, I love that. So today, and for the past 9 years, you help your clients find their horn. And, but I imagine you don't make them cry in the journey. So
I try not to. Yeah. We don't like tears. Unicorns don't particularly like tears. So I try to avoid that.
So tell me how has connecting with this love for your inner unicorn helped you to do that with others that you work with?
So I had this one illustration teacher who pushed us to be is weird and push the boundaries as much as possible. And he said, you can always make things, take it down a level, make it more normal, but you got to start with something kind of crazy to even show people that is a possibility. So I took that to heart, and I think when I started my business, I'd think, I don't want to get too weird. I don't want to turn them off. I don't want to, go too far. So they think,
how much of my horn do I show?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, do I put on a little bit of a hat so they can only see part of it?
Right. Yeah.
So slowly I started showing more and more really unique things, really different ideas. And what I found was that the clients that I really enjoyed working with loved it. They were like, wow, I've never seen anything like this. I've never heard of it. This is totally unique and ownable for their business. And it wasn't finding a brand that they liked the look of and, changing it and making it a similar version of that. It was something that was completely different. And so the more I showed clients that, and the more they loved it and chose that direction, the weirder I got, and the more I did it, and the more clients I found that were also weird unicorns. And they started kind of like, I know this designer, she's weird, she's good, let's talk to her. You need to talk to her when you do your branding for your restaurant or whatever. And it kind of went from there. So it's been a beautiful, beautiful journey.
Yeah. And now I just have to, like, in full disclosure, since I've been a client of yours and we've worked together in partnership, does that make me a unicorn then?
Absolutely. It makes you a unicorn.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I was going to say, we can all be unicorns, like everybody has that thing that makes them different, that makes them unique. It's just pushed down after our childhood. We're so creative as children, Children look at something like a curtain and they're like, it's a window blanket, and it makes it's hilarious, but it makes so much sense. And you see why they saw things in that way. It was such an innocent, childlike thing. And we're inundated with people telling us what to be, who to be, how to be every day, from elementary school. And you start showing your unicorn horn a little less. You start using that imagination a little less because we're worried about calling something a window blanket and somebody looking at us like,
what's wrong
what are
with
you talking about? But stuff like that deep reaching down for that inner child and those moments that make us feel really good and creative and, sketching or shadow puppets on the wall, anything like that kind of gets us back to that place where we didn't care what anybody thought when we were little. We did what made us feel good. And people lose that because life is hard and you have to fit in enough, right? To get to where you want to be. But when you can have those moments and dance in the rain or, do shadow puppets on the wall or swing on a swing when you walk by it, kind of gets you back in touch with that creativity.
Yeah. I love it. And I thank you for helping, me bring my brand visually to life. I feel like this is the very nature. It's like, was a matter of time before we found one another because of how, like, what you call a horn, I call the fire, so it's like,
absolutely.
It's like when you know how to share that light or show the horn, it's like the right people will be drawn to you because, they're like, oh my God, I've been looking for this and I didn't even know I was looking for it. Right. Like, I just feel so at home by your fire or in this group of unicorns. Right.
100%. We have very similar stories and ways of working. And I think that's, I love finding my other unicorns like you, Katherine.
I know. Big hugs. Well, I know our listeners are interested to see some of your work, and I'm so excited you launched your website. I'm going to put it up here. And that was just like in the past 6 months or so, right? Like,
the last 6 months it had
9 years in business, no website, right?
I had a few that I was not proud of. This one I really decided to take the time to be strategic and make it what I really needed it to be.
It's just beautiful. It is so you have the unicorn on the site. So go and visit DanielleIllustrates.com.
I also have Steven Tyler as an avocado in there. If you can find, if you want to see Steven Tyler as an avocado, I got paid for that, by the way. Please go to my site, scroll down to the end of the homepage.
Yes, it is a true gift. Like if you haven't seen Steven Tyler as an avocado, you must go do that now. Yeah,
Have to.
It's everything. When I think of you too, like I always think of that. So yeah, if you hadn't mentioned it, I probably would have.
I'm so glad. That was one of my favorites.
Yeah. So okay, like before I share, where they can find you on social. So for the people who, they're in business and they know they're magical, but for some reason they're still afraid to let their horn out. What advice do you have to offer them?
Okay, if you have showing your horn scary, just a little intimidated, not sure what to do about that, let me help you. I would be glad to help you find your horn, find the right way to show people your horn. And then you can be a full-fledged unicorn. We can be a blessing of unicorns together. Did you know that a group of unicorns was called a blessing? I found that out recently.
I learned via My Little Pony with my daughter, so yeah.
Perfect. That also works. But I do want to invite anybody who's interested in finding their horn or growing their horn to book a free connection call with me. Go to my website.
Let me put that up here.
Yeah, go to my website, send me a message, and it's a free connection call. We'll talk about you and your business and see if we're a good unicorn fit together.
Yeah. Oh, it's like a call to connect with their inner unicorn. I love it. So.
Yes.
And here I love the simplicity that you have. I always encourage this, if you can do it for entrepreneurs, like try to get the same handle for your social. So congrats that you were able to get Dani Lou Illustrates across Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook. So I love your Instagram channel. It's, obviously Instagram's like highly visual. So just that's a true gift too, to just scan your Instagram feed.
It's pretty much only projects, art, and my animals.
Yeah.
So you'll see a lot of my cats. On Instagram.
This is beautiful. Well, is there any? I mean, I want to stick to our time and just respect everyone's schedule. So, is there any other advice you would want to offer, or?
Oh man, I would say
so many great tidbits already, and also like literal definitions of the difference between design and illustration, which I think most people don't know. So I love that too. No. Yeah,
sure. I would say just creativity and imagination. Like if you don't use it, you lose it. So
like anything,
today,
right?
Yeah, today try to do something that your 7 or 8 year old self would do. Whatever you had fun doing then, or whatever sounds fun now, even if it seems like crazy and you won't be good at it. I did a cartwheel the other day just for the hell of it, just to see if I could.
Could you do it?
I could. Yeah, I did it.
Oh, good for you. I did one like, oh my God, it was like very sad, but kind of okay. I was like half proud. So yeah.
Yeah, I was pretty proud. And then a few days later, I was bragging about it, decided to do another one, and I pulled my hamstring. So, that happens too, but use that imagination. It was there. It was in you. So like reach down, find your inner unicorn, and bring some of those authentically you moments to your life that are just joyful and not for anybody else.
Yeah. Well, and I will say, I just absolutely love that. And I feel though that when you let that out, like in some small way, it's what lights everyone else up. Like it really does.
Yeah, it does. It's like a domino effect, right? So when I kind of did my weird thing, a lot of my friends were like, hey, I have some weirdness too, and I like your weirdness, so let's be weird.
Right?
Gives you confidence, right? You feel supported. You're not the only weirdo out there. You're not the only Phoebe from Friends out there. You have
there you go. There you go.
Unicorns. Yep.
Yeah, Phoebe's like one of the best characters. And every time I get any kind of sickness, I sing Smelly Cat, because who doesn't do that? Like,
me too.
Right? It's like, oh, I have the voice.
Like smelly, really smelly cat.
Yeah. You have it like naturally, like a very sultry. I love it, Danielle. Like,
oh, I'm not good at singing, but I do it anyway. I sing Meatloaf in the shower, so you can catch me on many weeknights just singing Meatloaf in the shower or Smelly Cat.
Yeah, there we go. Well, I went to oh, sorry, what?
Looking at the animal shapes on my wall and the different things I see, right? Yeah. That's
I think you'll like this one. I have to share the creativity just because I think it's good to give like suggestions. I went to this retreat. I don't know, I shared it on social. I went to a retreat in Arizona a few weeks ago. And one of the things that they did was like a spontaneous dance party, just middle of, yeah. And there were like adults 31 to 61 at this thing, like 16 of us. And at first I was like, holy crud, I should dance more because I'm so out of shape. Like that happens, right? Like, because we danced for like a while. And I was like, oh, but I was like into it. And I left the thing, lots of awakenings and wonderful things happened. But I was like, OMG, I have to do a dance party every day. And so 95% of the time so far, there's been a few days here or there. My family and I, but my daughter and I especially get into it. We like just put on a song that we like and we just start dancing. And what I think is so cool about it is, one, you can't feel anything but joy when you do that.
Yeah.
But two, it's like, as much as you're enjoying your unicorn horn and your authenticity and your style of dancing, what I think is so beautiful is find the moments to step back and just watch other people's. Because I did that at the retreat, and that just added more to it, like to see someone else experiencing that joy and lighting up. And I love just watching my daughter do it. So it's my way of, I literally too am thinking about signing up for an adult dance class because I just love it so much.
Well, it's good you're breeding a unicorn. Like you're teaching her how to be a unicorn self and not to get in her head about, dancing like nobody's watching. You got to do something like that.
Literally. Yeah. Our dog does not like our dancing. She likes to jump and fight. So that's a whole nother complication, but
yeah, my cats think I'm really weird. They think I'm probably weirder than anybody else. They see all the things.
Yeah.
I'm so glad they can't talk or get on the internet.
If only. Oh my goodness. I feel like we could go all day, Danielle. I love this. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
And hopefully, this inspires the listeners to celebrate their unique unicorn within them and to do something creative today. And I hope you'll tune in, and they'll also tune in to our next episode 21. On September, oh my gosh, 21st. Look at that, 21 and 21. I did not do that on purpose. I just realized that too. Same time, 1:30 Eastern time. We're going to be talking to Iris Goldfeder. She is owner of Gas Stove Creative. So she's one of my favorite people, and I can't wait to share her with you.
I can't wait to watch.
Yeah.
Thank you, Katherine.
Yeah, good to see you, Danielle. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.